Hello and welcome to Indian Markets Unveiled, our weekend special podcast. On a Friday evening, we tell you how the sentiments of the markets looked like during the session, and this will be a weekender podcast where you'll get a quick know-how of what all affected the market during the session. So let's get started. Well, it was a difficult day for the Indian markets as we did see all the major indices turning down as IT and banking stocks pulled the market downwards on another volatile day. The market was under selling pressure on 13th of October throughout the session. As in how it started, we did see and witness pressure, and the pressure sustained in the entire session as IT heavyweights continued to trade lower on concerns over demand outlook, and a slide in the banking stocks worsened the sentiments going ahead. At the close, the Sensex was down around 125 points at 66,282 and Nifty was down around 50 points at 19,751. So as there was an anticipation in our early morning podcast and we anticipated a meager day for the markets looked really and exactly like the same. The market started gap down amid weak global cues following slightly higher than expected US inflation, but then recovered. The recovery, however, was very short-lived as bears swung back in action to drag the Nifty to the day's low of 19,650 on an intraday basis. Some last-hour buying helped indices to pare some of the losses, but still the sentiment or the undertone of the market was on the lower side. However, if we try and consider the weekly performance, for the entire week, the Sensex and Nifty rose around 0.5% each. One needs to also consider the stocks and sectors as the top Nifty losers during the session were Axis Bank, Infosys, Adani Enterprises, SBI and Wipro, while the gainers were Tata Motors, IndusInd Bank, HCL Technologies, Tata Consumer Products and Nestle India. Among sector-specific action, Auto and Realty were up around 0.5% each, while PSU Bank and Information Technology were down by around 1 to 1.5%. During the volatility and when the market started with red signs, the broader indices was trying to help the market as mid-cap and small-cap indices were on the green front, but BSE mid-cap and small-cap indices at the end of the session, of course, ended flat. The short build-up was seen in Bandhan Bank, Infosys and Infosys, while a long build-up was seen in Tata Motors, Metropolis Healthcare and stocks like IndusInd Bank. If we take a close look at the key highlights which were making the rounds during the market, of course, the stock-specific action, the volatility in the indexes, the downtrend of the market, a short recovery which was really short-lived, and at the same time, the result-specific action was something which was the major trigger during this entire session. However, if we have a look at the key highlights, the Rupee closed flat against the US dollar. Ashok Leyland gets order from Tamil Nadu Government for 1,666 purchases, and Tata Motors, the share jumped over 5% to hit an all-time high. So clearly in automobile space, auto ancillary and tire space were the ones which were to be considered and which were creating an impact during the day. Tata Motors was the one which was outperformed. In terms of point contribution, the top contributors towards Nifty 50 on the positive side were TCS, IndusInd Bank, HCL Technologies, Nestle and Tata Motors. At the same time, the contributors towards the downside, the stocks which were clearly seeing signs of downtrend were ICICI Bank, SBI, Axis Bank, Infosys and HDFC Bank. The market breadth, if we have a look at, was skewed in the favor of the sellers. About 1,795 stocks rose, 1,870 stocks declined, while 155 remained unchanged on the BSE. Overall, if we try and consider and understand the crux of the market, definitely the markets are volatile and one needs to be a lot more protective and cautious while trading in the markets at this point in time. The indices advanced for the second straight week this Friday. The S&P BSE Sensex rose around 0.5% and NSE Nifty 50 rose around 0.5% this week. So on a week-to-week basis, if we see, the week was productive for the Indian markets, but on a day-to-day basis, this session, the Friday session, was a difficult one for the Indian markets. Again, last week, the headline indices snapped 2 weeks of losses as the S&P BSE Sensex index rose around 0.25% and NSE Nifty 50 index was higher by around a meager 0.8%. So clearly, on a week-to-week basis, the markets are trying to perform and trying to maintain a level But on a day-to-day basis, there are a lot of triggers, be it globally or domestically, which are affecting the markets, which one needs to keep an eye on. Let's quickly take a look at the sectoral performers throughout the week. Nifty Realty is the sector of the week, as the sector performed around 4.5% during the entire week. After that, Nifty Auto is another sector which performed really well with a 3% increase, with a 3% of performance return during the entire week. Nifty FMCG, Nifty Energy and Nifty Media sectors were performing too, while seeing an uptick of around 1.5%. Also, Nifty Metal and Nifty Mid-Cap spaces were performing. And one should also not forget the defensives, because when the markets are volatile or in a downtrend, the defensives like pharma, healthcare and diagnostics constantly support the markets. And similarly, during the entire week, the pharma index was also supporting the market with the gains of around 1%. On the flip side, Nifty Bank and Nifty IT were the dragger sector of the week, wherein we did see a downfall of around 2% in the Nifty IT sector, of course, due to the result-specific action which we did see in TCS, Infosys and HCL Technologies. Of course, HCL Technologies numbers were positive, and positive signs and gains of around 3% from the start of the session were witnessed in the stock. But apart from that, the entire sector was not performing. Banks and financials also did see the heat of the environment during the entire week. With this, we come to the wrap of Indian markets unveiled for today's session, that is our weekend session. On a Friday session, when the market started, the markets were seeing a downtrend, and the downtrend sustained throughout the trading session, of course, due to the reasons which were coming in from the global markets and the domestic markets. The earnings season has started in a muted manner, and as we see, post the IT major numbers, the markets is constantly seeing a downfall. So clear signs of volatility, and hence one needs to be very cautious while trading in the market. Investment is the best approach. Nevertheless, irrespective of market conditions, research is the backbone of successful portfolio creation. Wealth creation is an art we understand. We at Deven Choksi have our exclusive research services which are powerful and successful. To avail our exclusive research services, we invite you to join us. Just click on the link below and you are done. Fill in your basic details and our team will reach out to you. So don't wait any further and embark on the wealth building adventure together. Thank you and have a great weekend.